It's Wednesday night, so I've got myself a little beer. Cheers. So guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. It's a little bit of a follow-on video from one I did a few weeks ago. If you've seen it, if you haven't, go check it out. The video is focusing on the center speaker in the dash. I removed it and instantly noticed that there was a massive improvement in sound. Since been able to really experience the sound system, and the HK audio system in this car sounds 100 times better than it ever did previously to having the center speaker plugged in. I really recommend any M2, 240i, 2 Series owners unplug the center speaker because it makes such a difference. So this video is really a follow-on from that previous video on removing the center speaker, and it's looking at further improvements to the Harman Kardon audio system in the car. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use my iPhone, and we're going to use BimmerCode. And if you don't know what BimmerCode is, it's a paid app on the App Store. It's a BMW, Mini, I guess other marks of car coding app. So you can do everything from clearing fault codes, coding modules, tweaking settings in certain modules to really personalize your car. I'm not going to go into massive detail of the BimmerCode app because if you search BimmerCode on YouTube, there's 1,000,000,001 videos that already explain it way better than I'll ever be able to explain it. So what you're going to need to get started with this is the BimmerCode app, which is this bad boy here, and some way of connecting your iPhone and the app to your car. So you can use numerous devices, loads of like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth adapters, that kind of thing. I'm using an Ethernet cable, which essentially consists of about a £15 generic OBD to Ethernet, if I can get it out, cable. And then, which is that yellow thing there, about 15-20 quid on it on Amazon or eBay. Transfer Ethernet to my iPhone. I'm using then GigChem, that trusty old Chinese brand, Ethernet adapter to Lightning, so I can simply hook the OBD into my car, plug these together, and this end into my iPhone. So I really apologise for the bad lighting ahead of time, but what you're going to do is on the driver's side, come down to the OBD port. In my case, I've actually taken the door off. There should be a little cover here because I've got a permanent OBD display plugged into it. And when in your car you take the door off, you should see this OBD adapter. Take your OBD cable and plug it in. So the next thing we're going to do is, after plugging in the OBD cable to the car and the Ethernet to Lightning adapter to the Ethernet cable, this little bad boy gets plugged into the iPhone. Okay, so after we've plugged in the relevant cables to the car and the iPhone, the next thing we're going to do is, as my seat moves forward, turn the ignition on, because we're going to need the ignition on to power up all the modules in the car so we can scan and communicate with them. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is, on our iPhone, go down and turn on airplane mode. And essentially what we're doing there is forcing our iPhone to communicate solely through the Lightning adapter and thus through the Ethernet into the car. And we can check that by going into iPhone settings, and what you should see here is this Ethernet option. This should only appear when the iPhone detects that it's got an Ethernet device plugged into it, and we can see there that it's detected a USB type Ethernet interface, so we know that communication with the car is all good. So as soon as you hit connect, it should automatically pick your vehicle, your correct vehicle, from the list of BMWs and Minis and whatnot. So in this case, 2 Series M2, we can hit continue. And what it does now, it does a quick check of the car. It identifies any control unit that it can see. So that's everything from door control units, seat memory control units, the ECU, the gearbox ECU, lighting ECUs, that kind of thing. And obviously on a modern BMW or a modern car, there's quite a few, so it may take a minute or so. Okay, so once BimmerCode has successfully scanned, identified all the control units in the car, you should then come to this list here. And this is essentially, as it says at the top, every single control unit of the car. So we've got everything from ASD, active sound design, which is like the really annoying non-car person fake sound that's pumped into the cabin, rear view camera, air conditioning, instrument cluster, seat heating modules, that kind of thing. In this case, we want this one here, which is amplifier. And what it does is it reads that specific module. Now, certain modules, in this case the amplifier module being one of them, won't allow you to tweak any of the settings or code any different functions unless you're in expert mode, which in my eyes just means that you go into like a deeper level of coding of that module. Any coding at all, if you don't know what you're doing, you can mess your car up. It's always reversible, but obviously if you don't know how you got to the mess up in the first place, it's going to be really difficult for you to work out a way of getting back to where you were to revert back. Now I believe Bimmercode does back up your coding and create backups every time you create a new session with the app, but again, just urge caution with what you're doing. You get a warning that comes up. So in this case, you've expert mode, you've gone through the warning, and what we want to go to here is EQ setting and then equalizing data. And what this essentially is, I believe, is just a list of coding options that are preset into the Harman Kardon control module. So as far as I'm aware, and this is taking kind of my assumptions, I assume that this Harman Kardon module, as most car parts and modules are, interchangeable with loads of other BMW marques and series. You know, you could find this Harman Kardon module in a 5 Series BMW from 3 years ago, that kind of thing. And because of that, the module has preset configurations and software configs. So in the case of the F87 M2 that was sat in here, you can see, I don't know why, but it's coded to F20. So as you can see here, there are really quite a few options that you can choose from. So by all means, you can go through each one, code it, turn some music on, see how you fancy it, go back in, choose another one, code it, turn the music up, and choose the best one for you. And the best one that I've found so far is F45. It just makes the sound a lot cleaner. So after you've chosen your kind of favorite config, your favorite coding, maybe you've tried a few, in this case F45, I'm going to hit back and back again, and I'm going to hit code. And you'll see a message comes up to say, make sure you're in airplane mode, don't turn your car off, don't turn the phone off, that kind of thing, because obviously there's risk of corruption of modules and software if this process gets interrupted. So you may have just heard some static noise, then that's the amp restarting. And we can see that it's restarting the ECU. Clearing error codes. Oh, that is good beer, Vocation beer, really nice. So there you go, coding successful. Hit OK, and essentially we're done. So we can come out of that, and if we wanted to, we can do some other coding. We're not going to, so we're going to turn that off. And essentially, we can now turn on the music. I'm not going to play that any longer because I'll get copyrighted. But essentially, we've now improved the sound. Now, obviously, this is really subjective to each owner. Someone might get in this car and actually find that there's another coding config profile that they prefer more. So have a play with it, choose some of the coding, see which one you prefer the most. The sound system now sounds a hell of a lot better than it did when I first got the car. Center speaker removed, the code into F45, and I'll show you the EQ kind of equalizer settings that I prefer in the car as well. You can see here, so I have treble almost to the end. I think it's kind of maybe 3 notches from the maximum. I've got bass set 2 notches from the maximum. Balance left and right I've got set obviously quite center, and then fader I've got set 3 to the rear of the car, just to give it a little bit of kind of rear bias. I've played around with these settings quite a lot, and this just seems to be the best settings that I feel work for this car. So I hope that's helped. If anyone's got any questions or queries on any of the steps, please let me know. I'll leave a link below to the OBD to Ethernet adapter that I've used, and also if I can find it in my purchase history, because it was quite a while ago, the Ethernet to Lightning adapter that I've used as well. Like I said, the Bimmercode app is a purchased app on the App Store. From memory, I think it's about £30, but it's well worth it because you can do a lot of tweaking to different modules and settings. But that's it for now, guys. I'm going to go enjoy my beer and probably have 1 or 2 more, even though it's a school night, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.